We have certainly come a long way in Ireland from the times when trees were revered and their true values respected. After the major deforestation, where there was hardly a stick left standing, in the 1850s an attempt was made to reforest Ireland using new continental scientific methods. This was the beginning of plantation or industrial forestry, using single crops of same species of fast growing conifers. These monocrops are completely alien in the natural world, where a native natural forest is a society of diverse species and organisms working together symbiotically for the common good of all, including human beings. This industrial forestry model was inherited by the new Irish state in 1922 and continued in a piecemeal way into the 1950s. The 1956 Forestry Act allowed for the compulsory purchase of mainly poor upland bogs, which were targeted for mass planting of Sitka spruce and lodgepole pine, both exotic species dependent on nitrates and phosphates, which release nitrous oxide and other gases which add to global warming. These monocrops, unlike native species, have no immune systems and therefore also require pesticides and herbicides to stay healthy. When the European Union targeted huge amounts of funding for forestry to assist impoverished rural areas to generate local economies and employment, the state created Coillte, also known as the Irish Forestry Board. This was in 1989, after the 1988 Forestry Act, which was created to set up Coillte, to exploit the European Union grants and develop the forestry sector. However, after approximately €300 million worth of state and European Union aid combined poured into the forestry sector, we are now in a situation where in 2009 the Chief Executive Officer of Coillte, Mr. David Gunning, before an Agriculture and Food Committee explaining Coilte's recent slump in performance, stated the traditional forestry model in Ireland is no longer viable. In fact, without grants it never was. It appears that Irish forestry policy has been hijacked by private interests via the marriage of the Irish Forestry Board, also known as Coillte, to allied Irish banks and Irish Life. Together they set up the Irish Forestry Unit Trust as a pension fund scheme in 1993, using 15 million punts worth of public forest assets at the time. This was facilitated by the Minister of Finance then, Mr. Bertie Ahearns, who also happened to be the main shareholder in Coillte on behalf of the public with 99 shares. Over many years, and despite the obvious reasons to diversify the Irish forest estate with more native trees and change the forest management policy for the common good, we remain burdened with this disastrous industrial model, reliant on chemicals and clear felling, pollution of the soil and water, devoid of employment or training opportunities for young people, devoid of wildlife and biodiversity, a green desert in fact, which has been funded to the tune of over €300 million that we know of, and of benefit mainly to the few participating in the Irish Forest Unit Trust and its sister scheme, Irish Forestry Services. Incidentally, the minimum investment in Irish Forest Unit Trust is €100,000. So that's hardly a scheme of benefit to the majority of the public. I'm sure you would agree. The profits propped up by European Union and state money of 100% grants, which on paper these grants were designed to assist impoverished hill farmers and rural communities. In reality, these profits are being privatised, and the costs, which happen to be pollution, soil erosion, depopulation, etc., are being socialised in true corporate style. In this current climate of economic meltdown and financial incompetence, communities must demand a more beneficial forestry policy that can deliver for the common good now and into the future. The same new policy can help soften the blow from the worst ravages of the recession, which are still to come. we can grow an economy. And just to finish, the public need to be aware that Bertie Ahern is now chairman of a Swiss forest investment company called Helvetia, who are proposing to buy Quilcha and its 1.5 million acres of public forest land. And this must be opposed by all sensible minded people.